Guys, what's going on? So I think it's about time I give all the details on my car since I've released both videos or the Dragon videos and stuff like that. I just want to go over the car, tell you what's in it, the build, even the history behind it, to be honest. So yeah, let's get to it. Guys, so this car right here, this is my 1993 Ford Mustang GT. I've had this car for about 9 to 10 years. Got this car when I was 16. So driven this car in high school and college. Still haven't now graduated college 4 years ago. So my pops had this car first. He got it from someone that he went to high school with. That person that sold him the car said that they would only sell the car to him if they were to sell it to him at all. So the way I got this car though was my pop had another car like this, except it wasn't a hatchback, it was a coupe. This car right here is a hatchback. So the coupe he had, he just had so much stuff going on with it. And he's basically busy with the car, so this car did not get any time really. So I really treated this car as it was my own before I even got it. So I guess he just ended up wanting to give me the car because he saw how much love I had for it. So then I made it my baby. That's pretty much it with that. So like I said, this is a 93 Ford Mustang GT. Yes, it's not like the original that came from the factory. So I'll start from the front. Actually, on the front of this car, you see that it has a 93 Cobra grill insert. This car was originally a GT. It had the Ford sign in front. So I got the car painted. I'll get to that later. Anyway, that's one of the things that changed on this car. Right here in the back, I have a 93 Cobra bumper, and I have the spoiler for a 93 Cobra. Also, I have tail lights for 93 Cobra. Everything is still pretty much the same. I didn't mess with the ground effects on this car. Still have the GT ground effects. See right there, it says Mustang GT. I still have all of that. Decided not to put the Cobra emblems on here. I actually like the way it looks like this. And that's pretty much it. So in case you guys haven't noticed, I do have a lot of attachment to this car. This is my baby, man. It's been with me for 9 years. This car has been very good to me. You know, every car, of course, is gonna have their few little problems, but the engine in this car and, you know, the car itself is very good. You know, I try to keep up with the car, keep it clean and whatnot. The interior and everything is still original. I'll get to that in a second. But as for the paint, there's actually a story behind it. All right, so this car was actually painted back in 2018, I believe. So during that time, I was in college, and the reason for getting the car painted, I wanted to get it painted anyway, but there was an event that happened that made us get it painted anyway. So during that time when I was in college, I was dating a young lady, and I was over her grandparents' house. And so while I was inside, one of her grandparents was leaving the house, and they had this Silverado pickup truck. They were backing out of the driveway and ended up hitting my car in the side, right here in the fender, and kind of put a dent in it. So the car was still drivable, of course, but you know, after that, you know, we were like, let's go and get it painted. So got the car painted, we put it in there in like 2018, 2019, something like that. And the car sat in there for like a year. The person who painted my car was my uncle. He is very good with painting cars, but it takes forever. And he was so good that he was just bagged up. You know, he had so many cars that he didn't know which car to work on. He would jump from car to car thinking that it would make a lot of progress. But, you know, really, he didn't really have any help like that. So during that course of the year, I went to go help him at the shop. And sometimes with other things, you know, not just with my car. But I didn't paint my car, but he was the one that painted, but I helped him with, you know, just taking it apart before it got there. And I have pictures of that, so I think I'll throw that in the video. A year later, car got finally painted. I'll put those pictures in the video. Finally got my baby back. I think I was in my last year of college or something like that. And man, the car was, when it got out, it was like almost flawless. And when I got the car back, I said it was worth it. You know, over that time of the year, I was like gonna get upset because it was sitting in there for so long. I can remember going to the shop and I would go and look at my car for like a minute and leave because I thought he would have made progress, but he didn't. And after that year, finally did. So, which, like I said, it was worth it. But anyway, all right. So for the interior of my car, let's take a look on the inside. All right, so it's a bit dirty right now, but when I clean the car up, it cleans up very nice. So everything, well, not everything, almost everything is original except for this cup holder and the boot that came with the cup holder. This cup holder specifically has a charging port and it has 2 USB ports right here. So I got that from LMR. I have a touchscreen radio right here. I think it's like between 6 and 7 inches, something like that. But as you can see, I did a relocation on this car. Now this is not a kit that I bought offline. I actually made this kit on a 3D printer while I was in college. So, and it was a pretty easy project. That's not hard. Okay, so for the back, it's the original. All of this stuff back here is original. So now let's go to the trunk of the car. So I'm gonna get my keys. I actually have a button to open the trunk with. Okay, this is the trunk right here. Like I said, man, car just needs to be cleaned out. This thing right here, this is a plan for the future. I want to relocate my battery. It's not mounted up yet, but I'm just getting everything so that when the time comes, I already have it. Okay, so the drivetrain for this car, there's actually a story behind this. So during the time I was in college, I was looking at other cars, and I, like the idea of people putting camshafts or 4 cams or 2 cams on their cars. I kind of wanted to do that. So I was looking at cam swapping so much that, my dad came around to ask me, he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I was thinking about wanting to put a cam in my car. So long story short, it came from just putting a cam in the car to ordering forged pistons and getting a 302 block board over and all of that stuff. I had a block. This block was actually board over, honed and everything since I was in high school. But I did not order or buy the pistons until I was in college, like my second from last year. So my junior year, basically. I ordered a set of forged DSS pistons with a 1.6 compression height. So basically just a 302 piston. But the only difference was they were 30 over pistons. So when we built the engine, of course, we pulled the original out of this one and built the motor that I originally first built and put in here. And we went with that, built the motor, put it together. Started the car up, man. The motor sounded so radical with open headers. Like it sounded really good, and I was excited. But there was a problem. So after we started the car up, we heard a tapping noise coming from the engine. We did not know where it was coming from. So the first thing my dad said was, it sounds like something is on top of the piston. And I was like, oh my God, I really hope that's not the case. Long story short, that was a screw on top of the piston. And I have pictures of that. I'll throw that in there just to show you what it looks like. But man, was I upset, man. So I could not sleep that night. We ended up pulling the motor out the next day, I believe, after we had built it. And we took that piston out of that cylinder. It was on cylinder number 7. Took that piston out, called DSS. And we ordered another single piston that was supposed to be 30 over, but wasn't when we got it. When we put it in the car, it was hard to go in. So we felt that it was too big, and it ended up messing the cylinder up. So after it messed the cylinder up, it was just like, you know what, we just gonna pull this motor out, forget about it. My dad said the best thing you can do at this point is take the cylinder heads that we put on that motor and just put on that old 302 that came out your car and put it back in. So I did that. Well, we did that. Put it in there and the car ran good and I loved it. Loved it so much that I beat on the car all the time, and the computer in my car allowed that motor to turn only, I would say only 7,000 RPMs. The car could have railed way higher than that, I believe, but the computer stopped it at 7,000. Anyway, I did it so much that about a year later, I blew that motor up. So if I can find those pictures, I'll put them in there. And man, like at that point, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I need to get another block. I need to build another motor and stuff like that. So my dad had an idea of just using the old block. The first block it was the first motor that we put in that I built was a 306. So we took that 306 block and used it again. So after all that madness, we finally got the car running good. That first motor that I built, we used that same block. We took the 30 over pistons, put them in the block except for cylinder number 7. We had that punch 40 over and put it in the car, put the heads on and the top end and all of that stuff. Car's running good. It's currently in the car now. It's been in there for a while and it's been good to me. I know that's something you probably don't hear a lot, that 7 of your pistons are the same size except for one cylinder. But, you know, at the time we were like, it's not that big a deal. You know, it's not really a radical build, you know, just something that we're putting together so you can get the car back on the road. So that's pretty much what that was. So for the drivetrain of this car has a built 306. It has a stock cast crank. It has Eagle H-beam rods, 5.09 rods. It has DSS SX series pistons. The pistons, I can either run an inline head like an AFR or I can run a trick flow. I decided to go with trick flow twisted wedge 170s, and I have a top end kit, the rest of the trick flow top end kit. With that top end kit, I did not use the stage 1 camshaft. That camshaft was actually paired with the original motor that I had in this car when I decided to put the motor in before I blew it up. I still have that camshaft somewhere. That camshaft is not in this car. What I actually have in here is a nitrous comp cam. It is the NX 282-14. Don't quote me on that, but I'll look up the number and I'll put it up here. So that's what this motor is. For the transmission, It is a stock T5, which is not the original transmission. I tore up the first transmission and I swapped out with the guy that rebuilt one for me. So it has the original drive shaft and the rear end. The rear end is also not original. I rebuilt this rear end. I put a 373 in here and, you know, painted it up, made it look good. And that's pretty much it for the drivetrain. I also have dual electric fans under here. I have a MSD rev limiter on this car. And as you all have seen, the car has FR 500s on it. These are 17-inch wheels. And on the front, the width of the tire is 245. And on the back, the width of the tire is 275. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna open the hood and let you see what's in it. Okay, so I did forget to mention that I have an Anderson power pipe. This 306 has 24-pound injectors, has an original distributor. I just painted that distributor cap, but 24-pound injectors and the mass airflow to match it from Pro M. That thing it works great. I haven't had any other mass air meters to work as good as a Pro M. And right down here, I have a comp cam vacuum canister. And this is because that the camshaft is so big that I needed a vacuum canister on it. Now, specs on the camshaft, it is a, like I said, it's a comp cam, nitrous cam. Now, the other part number that I know of is 35-560-8. Now, this cam, the duration at 50 is like 232, 240. The lift is 565, 580 with 1.6 rockers. And the RPM range is from 2,600 to 6,600. Something like that. But as you can see, the color is very different up under the hood. But, you know, for my plans for this car, that's gonna change. You know, wire tug, painted engine bay, all that stuff. But I'll go more into detail in another video about what my plans really are for this car. I also did forget to mention that I have BBK long tube headers on here. I have some pipes, X-pipe, and Mac Pro Dump mufflers. This dual fan right here, this came off of eBay during the time. I think I paid like $180 for it. And it's been in this car for maybe like 2-3 years, something like that. And see, I have one relay right here and one on the other side. And one is for each fan. This radiator did not come with a radiator reservoir, so I actually made one and put it down there. So with the previous videos that you've seen, and I mean the draggy videos, do you think that time is acceptable for a 306 cubic inch small block Ford? Or do you think I can go faster? Have you seen bigger cubic inch motors go slower times than that? I want you all to put that in the comments. as far as the details on my car, that's going to be it. Now, there are like 2 things that I missed. So the car has SVE, short throw shifter. I can't remember, but it was given to me and it was totally free. It was brand new from one of my cousins. Shout out to him. And it has a Pro 5.0 handle on it and the Cobra shift knob. And this car does have AC. It has AC and heat on it. So I really can get in this car, drive anywhere I want with no problem. So that's going to be it, man. Thank you guys for watching. More content coming soon. Please subscribe.